Okay, let's look at adding our window systems to our bump out. So we have a 6-foot French style door with a transom over it, and then two side lights. And we'll go ahead and get started with that. This is a 6-foot transom window. These windows are 2 foot wide, and they're set like a 6 inches away from the main doorway. So we'll go out to Revit, and I'll go to the south elevation, and let's go ahead and start getting some components in here. So right away I want to go to Insert and load in that double door. So I'm going to go to the Cloud, Load Autodesk Family, and we'll go to Doors, and Door Double Glass, and we'll load that in. And let's go ahead and use the largest one they have here, the 72 by 84. And we'll go ahead and place that. Oops, let me place the door. We'll place it right on that level. And you'll notice I've got it lined up for 6'3" by 6'3", so it says it's centered in that opening. And I'll click. And our trim's the wrong color. We want that to be a dark color, so actually we can go ahead and do that right away. I'm going to go to Edit Type. And you'll notice I have this birch stained. And so let's click on that, and it'll allow us to open up a new, create a new material. So I'm going to create a new material, right click to rename it. Call it Trim Dark. And I hate when I do an extra capital. And let's select a color that is not completely inky black. Throws a little bit of light off of it. There we go. And say apply, okay. So that's just the trim dark, and then we'll also put the same trim metal here. Okay, and then we have our dark window. So we need a little 2x2 casement window down below. Let's see if those are already loaded in. Fixed windows are already loaded in, I believe. If not, you'll have to go out to the Cloud and load them in. But I think they come already packed into Revit. So I'm going to grab a 24 by 24 inch, and we go ahead and place this. I'll just randomly place this now because we really want to organize where it sits. Let me just zoom in here and see if we can use our tools here. Let me pull this over, and I'm going to pull this over, and then we can set that for 6 inches. The other way to do this is just to set it down in the corner and then use the move tool. So that sets us 6 inches that way. I'm going to come down here and click and set this for 6 inches, and that positions it. So anytime we want to move these lines, we can grab these hinting lines and then reposition them to go to any place on our object that we want to go. So that's our positioning of our window, 6 inches off. Let's go ahead and edit this type. We actually we'll leave this one as the fixed 24 by 24, but let's go ahead and edit the sash color and make that our dark trim. Sorry, I'm skipping by that quickly. Okay, and then actually we could duplicate this one, and then we're going to make a copy of, we'll move it up, and let's go ahead and modify this one, edit type, and we'll go to duplicate, and we want this one to be 24 by, I think it's 6'6", so that would be 78 inches. And I believe that our default sill height is going to be 2'6" because we now have that 2-foot window that was 6 inches up above. The height of the window, we want to be 6'6". I kind of know this. This is going to actually include the transom that we're going to do. So you just import that number right away. And the width will stay the same. So we'll click apply and OK. And now it looks like it's really tall, but we're going to make a 2-foot transom window over here. So I'm going to actually grab this window again and copy it over. And we're going to modify it. So we're going to go to grab it, go to edit type, and we'll duplicate it, and we'll call this 24 by 72, and we'll call it transom. And now our dimensions are flipped around here, so our height is now only 2 foot, 0. Our width is 6 foot, and our default sill height is, I don't know, we'll just guess at it. And it looks pretty good. And so I'm just going to move it over into position. And we look at this at a 3D view to see how things are coming along here. That all looks pretty good to me. Let's do a little rotating here. Looks like these windows are opening out. We're going to put what's called a Juliet balcony. There'll be no room for the windows to swing, the doors to swing out. So I'm just going to hit the space bar and face those in. And then we'll go and mirror these windows, these two windows here, by selecting them both by holding the control down, and then using the mirror command and finding the center. And it looks like we need a little railing now in front of this, so I'll go to, we're up on the top level there, so I'll go to level 4, I think it is. Nope, how about level 3, excuse me, where we can see the door, and now we could actually add a little balcony. We know how to do railings, so I'm going to go to railings, sketch a path. We're going to select a glass panel one because it's nice and fancy. And I'll just draw us a little sketch here. So we'll come out 6 inches. We'll go across our, doesn't look like I'm getting good hinting here. There, oops, there we go. That's our 6 foot length. I'm not seeing that highlighting, and then I'll come back to 6 inches with that. I see, I was not in continuous drawing mode. So let me just draw this line back again. And this line I need to correct because I didn't touch back to the building. All right, so that's complete. Let's take a look at what that looks like. There's our railing, but we seem to need a little bit of a floor under that. So let's actually make a special kind of a floor. So I'll go back to level 3 where we're going to build that floor. I'll grab the floor tool. And we have generic here. I'm going to go to edit type and make a duplicate so we can make a special balcony floor. Excuse my mouse there. And we'll call this balcony. And we'll go to edit the structure. And we don't want it to be a foot thick. Let's make it just 3 inches thick. And let's give it a tone. Let's give it the white trim. I forgot what we called that. It was probably white trim. Okay. And we'll go okay. And okay. And now we actually have to draw that floor. So we want it on level 3. And I'm just going to come over to the edge of the doorway and over to the edge over there. And we'll come out the full width. Let me go ahead now, and I just clicked that selected, but let me just pull this over until I connect to that edge. That's good enough for this as far as our level of precision. Let's take a look at that in 3D view. That looks pretty good. Okay, so now we have that set for one of the top floor. And now what we need to do is just copy all those elements down. So I'm going to draw a box over them and use my copy tool. And I don't want it unmoldable, but I just grab any point and I'm going to just pull down until this 10 foot because that's our level to level. And we'll just review that again in our 3D view. So we're moving along really quickly here. I hope you were able to follow that comfortably. Let me know in the comments if I was going too fast or too slow. And we'll look at sweeps next.